Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beating the Drum Today with Cybergriotz. In today's episode, I'm talking to Mohan Kumar, a leading security practitioner with industry experience in discovering vulnerabilities for Google products, Netflix, and Nokia. After doing this for a while, Mohan started his own company and he's currently the CEO of Aira Security, and their focus is on securing AI and agentic AI in the era of AI. Once I come back, we'll be talking to Mohan and we'll be covering AI and agentic security in this episode. Stay tuned and I'll talk to you in a bit. Hello and welcome to this episode of Beating the Drum Today. Mohan, welcome to the show. Thank you for making the time and I'm excited to talk about AI a lot. I know AI is like the hot topic right now. You happen to actually be the CEO of Aira Security, as I mentioned in my intro. And today's episode, we're hoping to cover some things in agentic AI and AI security. If so, excited to talk to you and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ahmad.
Yeah, awesome. So a lot of times we usually start off by trying to explore or get into our guest journey in cybersecurity, as this show is about storytelling. So we love to hear like how you ended up where you are, where you started, what was the motivation, things like that. Just as a motivation for our listeners, just so they can get to see the different backgrounds and some of the people that we have on the show. So.
Yeah, of course, Ahmad. So I've always been a bit obsessed with computer networks. During my bachelor's in electronics and communication, everyone around me was excited about building electronic things. Like we were connecting breadboard, computers, etc. And I was the annoying one who always asking, okay, so what happens when this breaks or when someone abuses it? So that's how I got into like curious on how things breaks within computer networks. So that curiosity kind of dragged me to do masters in cybersecurity at Concordia University in Montreal back in 2011. And that's when I really took cybersecurity seriously. And right after my graduation, my first job was at a startup called Made Media, and that experience really helped shape me. I was the only one security person.
Wow.
Teams, no fancy tools, like no policies. Like it's just like 8-member team, but we were winning a client in a financial institution, and the drill, right? Like when we have a customer in financial sector, like they need so much expectation from you from both security and compliance angle. So my startup founders asked me to do everything, like from web app
You're the one man security.
yeah, absolutely. Like pen testing, wall management, and a lot of firefighting. And that's my very first job. Really translating my theory learning from my master's degree into like real applications there. So that really helped me shape my early. And then right after the startup journey, I moved to Morgan Stanley, and suddenly it was a different world. Like I was investigating like nation state attacks and insider threats. While I was employed at Morgan Stanley, we had a huge insider breach, and I was also part of the investigation where it really surprised like how even the worst incidents looked. It's not like flashy or fancy, like nothing goes crazy, you won't find like typical alerts for those kind of attacks, right? So things are different when I moved from the Made Media to Morgan Stanley. And I know, so these two world really give me a thought to think about security deeply. And like because working for a startup and then working for a top
Like
tier,
a corporate, yeah.
yeah, it's like it's a lot different. My role was to do incident response function, but whereas where I was doing like a lot of things. So this kind of gave me like picture on multiple security functions within cybersecurity, because I'm talking about like 2012-13 time frame, right? So back then not many organizations have good security structures, but I was able to be part of Morgan Stanley journey where I was learning different functions, what they do, how pieces tie in together. So that's my early journey. But then from there on, I worked at various corporations, and previously founding Aira Security. I was at Box. I did like a lot of cool stuff.
Nice.
Cybersecurity.
Awesome. Awesome. One thing I want to focus on, just you mentioned something because I did my master's around that same time, like 2013, in cybersecurity, and it was one of the first programs. Actually, it was actually the first program for UW for us, right? I'm curious how it was because for you, like that, a master's in cybersecurity wasn't common then. Like, how did you end up like? Can you walk me through that? Like, how you chose, and particularly the choice of your school and all of that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I did my bachelor's back in India, so focused on electronics and communication. I knew I wanted to upgrade my skills to be a niche, something unique. And I was looking at various universities across US, Canada, Australia, and somewhere in UK too. And at the time, cybersecurity really sparked me because I always want to know what happens when things break.
Yeah,
And then when I was researching, I shortlisted few universities among all the countries, and then like financial aspect is one thing that stopped me in exploring some of the expensive universities. So then I shortlisted. Okay, so based on the 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 degree that I want to pursue is cybersecurity, which is clear because I want to understand how things break so that how I can
awesome.
help
You can
fix.
fix them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like to hit on that point because that's typically the motivation for a lot of us who are in cyber. I tell people it's the curiosity, it's the passion, wanting to explore and all of that stuff. And in that regard, I do want to ask you about some of the cool stuff you did. I know you didn't mention that you found bugs and vulnerabilities in products like with Google and others and so forth. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of those things, like some of the vulnerabilities you found and what were there and how that
Yeah.
came to be?
Yeah, sure, Ahmad. So in 2013-14 timeframe, that's where like the bug bounty was really born. And back then, Bugcrowd is a known platform even before like HackerOne.
Hacker one, yeah.
Yeah, so I I I was just messing around with some of the programs. I came to know about the platform Bugcrowd. That's even before HackerOne, right? I was looking at all the top tier companies who are offering bug bounties, and Google, Netflix, Spotify, Nokia. So these are the platforms that I was always one as a user. I use them in day to day. Like we use Google search engines, right, and Netflix for movies. So I am always curious. Okay, so I am a consumer of these apps. So how can I find some cool stuff and report to them, right?
Yes.
So by looking at these programs, I started to install Burp. As I mentioned, my first job really helped me to do a lot of things because I was the only one person, right? So I'm very hands-on in pen testing at the time. So I was trying to drill down like few applications within, because Google is so big,
Big,
Netflix is
yeah.
so big, and they have a lot of M&As, a lot of products, a lot of features. And like the way I approached is I always take the products that I really consume on, and then take some small component of it and then play with it during weekends. Just watch the request and response in Burp.
Yeah.
That gave me like a lot of things. And then I just go research, hey, why is this happening? Like then I try to break in and did like a lot of findings with IDOR, cross-site scripting, and a lot of other critical stuff back then. And then now, like fast forward in 2026, like we are dealing with much
Dealing with
problem.
makes sense. Yeah.
But I got into the bug bounties and like found and reported so many and received a lot of bounties. And more than bounties, it's the learning and the journey. I used to have a bug road sticker back in the days. It says like your my other computer is your computer.
But I love
So
that. Was there any particular bug that you found that stood out to you out of your bug bounty journey?
I mean, I can think of one report I made it to, I guess it's to Spotify, I believe, where I was able to do like some IDAR and then was able to pull their internal resume information. So
Nice.
I guess they are using some third party to vet resumes,
Resumes, yeah.
and then that was a good information that I was able to pull. So again, like I really need to dig in through those memories a
Yeah.
lot. But
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Sounds good. That said, I think one of the main thing we're here to talk about today is obviously AI and agentic AI, and we'll get to cover exactly what Aira Security does in detail in a few segments. But I wanted to start off with just even explaining what AI agents are. Like, I mean, we've seen the advent, like October 2022, we saw ChatGPT come out and all those LLMs and so forth. What is an AI agent or what is agentic AI and how is that different from what the average user knows, like with the chat GPTs and Geminis?
yeah, of course. Yeah, like the word agent has like different meanings, like everyone have their own definitions, and it's also, when you look at other marketing websites, it's really confusing to me as well sometimes. But the way I define agent is something that is capable of taking actions in real world, or it can be calling different function like multi-step to, that can call several tools to achieve something. So it
Something.
can be calling a backend API to actually do stuff. Like that's how I see an agent is. It's not like a request and response. Like it's not like a Q&A engine. It's more than doing an action in the real world.
Being able, okay, so it's being able to offload something to it. So in that context, the things we've seen recently are things like MCP. Would that be typical of an agent, like the model context protocol? I think if I got it
Yeah,
right.
yeah, absolutely. So MCP, it helps agents to connect to multiple tools seamlessly. So
Makes sense. Okay.
it's more like a docking station
I get it. Okay.
that
And
can
is
help to connect between tools. Yeah.
so other than the docking station, could you call it more like a translator? Because I know it's like a certain language, like what is it, JSON format, and being able to read and write that or understand that. Is that correct? My assumption is correct on that, or
So yeah, instead of like we writing separate functions to call 10 different toolings, in MCP makes it easier so that developers can just use MCP as a way to easily connect between tools, and they do not need to write 10 different integrations with 10 different APIs. For
make
example, if I want to talk to Slack, GitHub, Figma, or any other internal tools or external tools, like instead of me writing four different integrations, I just use one integration that can help
the
me to.
docking station? I like the way you describe it. By the way, the docking station sort of makes sense. So as we are in security space, why is the? I mean, just like with anything, why is the security of that important? Like, can you walk us through that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it's right now the agentic security are like, why it's different from traditional is just because a lot of things, the underlying concepts has changed. But I mean, the still the security of permissions, identity, it all remains the same. But what have fundamentally changed is driven agents are taking actions, so that autonomy is what adding additional layer. And then in general, like if we look the journey, right, like right after ChatGPT launch in 2022 end, like we were much worried about like shadow AI, other stuff, and then we have evolved from there. And then we at some point, like we were really focused on prompt injection, advanced prompt injection, jailbreaking type of attempts. So then we evolved into something agentic security.
Mm,
That's
makes
like
sense. Makes sense.
that's the
So
autonomous nature, right? So model has an intent to do some action, and then to do that, like it is calling different bunch of tools with 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 the permissions it was assigned, and then it is doing some task done. And then when you look at the outcome, it the at times it may not be the outcome that we are supposed to
okay,
expect
makes
or
sense.
even approved. So that's what makes this harder in my
Makes
opinion.
sense. So in essence, you're saying the same old security problems apply, but even maybe greater risk because a lot of things are automated right now. So whether it's identity and access management, how we provision access, least privilege, whatever, all those typical things still apply. And
Yeah.
in many ways, like almost the OWASP top 10 kind of concerns, injection, and all those things apply. There's one thing I saw a post actually on LinkedIn by James Wickett. He's like CEO of Dry Run Security, and he said the biggest misconception in AI security right now is thinking it's just an updated OWASP top 10. It's not even close. And I'll just curious what your thoughts are on that, based on just what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I can plus one on James. In fact, I we closely work with them, so I I I, I totally see the misconception, especially right now. Like when I talk to a lot of other verticals in life sciences, the problem has not fully educated. So that's why the misconception lies. Like we, it's not only the traditional injection attacks. So
Yeah,
now, even like consider, even if you are not trying to inject a malicious or hidden instructions, still an agent can do unintended things. So I was reading another real wild use case where an agent was even blackmailing because of the task it was assigned for. From an
well,
agent angle, it looks right, but when you look at the overall picture, why it is doing at the time, then it is so serious,
that's
right? So,
crazy. That's wild. So in essence, what I mean, I know a lot of developer teams and engineering teams are excited for new technology and then embrace it and they want to move fast. How what is the business risk for agentic AI or using agents in general? Like what would you say is the business risk? What should developer teams be concerned about? How do they use agentic AI in the most secure way?
yeah, so let's break down into like few components from a developer experience, right? Like, I mean, now developers have even further superpower. So they can build agentic workflows much faster and quicker with cursor, cloud, desktop, etc. And by the way, agents also comes with variety of ways. It's not only that they can build, they can also, like, now enterprises are adopting other vendor tools that are powered by agents too. So
Yeah,
they are interacting with SaaS agents as well. It's not only like internally, like the developers building, it's beyond
it's
that. Like,
also yeah.
yeah, so now agents can come in any form, right? So but again, the adoption, it's rising in different verticals. From a business risk angle, a lot of the enterprises and in other businesses have no visibility into what their developers are doing, like what tools they are connecting, and what are the agentic workflows that they're running,
Yes.
and what data it is touching internally, and then what they're sending out. Like these are a bit chaotic today. And the business risk is, like, it can lead to sensitive information leakage, reputation damage, whatnot. Needs to be guarded and monitored so that we cannot stop them from using it. Like we are not, we shouldn't get keep from a security.
We should always be the guardrails, right? But
Absolutely.
one thing I want to drill on, as you mentioned, that is the superpower. One of the things I know we're seeing, like with product teams, is, for example, the ability to run some of these agents locally. So, I mean, people can run these locally on their own machines, and then it just creates this larger attack surface, right? Because you have no idea what's happening locally. Like, so it's an interesting thing. I like the word you use, superpower, but I think with that superpower, our work in security becomes a lot more and so forth. So, yeah, post that you made on LinkedIn about the Apollo 13, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that. It said it was something along the lines of. Let me see if I can read it out. Actually, it was something along the lines of their original mission changing and so forth. The mission was to go to space. Now the original mission was to bring the crew back safely. How does that apply to developer teams today or product teams today with the advent of AI and how we fail fast and recover quickly? Any how we operate?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's a great question, Ahmed. So I was reading a lot about that mission, but when we translate that here, right? I guess the overall, the mission for using agent is to empower, do a lot more work done with the power of agents, so that the developers can go solve other problems. Like there are still organizations have unsolved problems, and then in future they're going to get even further problems, right? So they can leverage this agent and go figure and do a lot more problem solving, and then less on should we adopt it or not. But when we translate from a mission angle, also on the same side, we should not let this into a catastrophic disaster, like, hey, I did this, and then because of this, now we are in
Well,
serious trouble.
yes, it makes
So I think the long term mission is having the organization secured and without exposed to any of these risks, and also leverage these agents to have more work done with by solving like even better problems. So I see they have to fail fast in a way that can accelerate. So on the same note, it's not catastrophic. So this can be possible if they know what's going on from day zero, right? Like they have to think security from day zero, so
yes,
that they can have this fail fast, and then they know they're monitoring, and then they know what's going on, and so that will help them to get there. So that's
makes sense.
my thought
Yeah,
process.
I like that that shift left mentality. We talk about that all the time as far as like how we do SDLC today. I'm wondering how we can, I guess, when we start to think of shift left with agentic AI, and how can we embed that in that shift left mentality?
The defense and depth layer, like
Yes.
right from wipe coding, because now there are like a lot of AI native SaaS that can help reduce the vulnerabilities from the code base. And that's one angle that always needs to be there as part of the shift led mentality in the execution part,
Yeah.
right? So no matter where what the agent is assigned at the outcome of the task is, we want to sit at the execution and then enforce the layer in there. So we see once an action is performed, right, so the damage has been done, right? If it's doing an outcome of action that is not expected, so we see enforcing right before that execution as a shift left mentality. So that's where we specialize today, and then from there on we will look at other shift left aspects. But overall, this approach has like traditional SSDLC methodology follows here to
Yeah.
accept that, like, hey, now that models are involved, there are like whole bunch of things to consider.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Absolutely. And that said, I want to shift into something that you do, which is one of the topics we promised to cover here, is how you got to start in Aira Security. What is Aira Security's mission about, and the products you're building? I would love to hear more about what your company does.
Yeah, absolutely, Ahmed. So, I mean, the way I got into this is more organic and more natural way. So, I was at Box doing product security work, infrastructure, threat modeling, design reviews, and making sure that our Box infrastructure and the features didn't go something with obvious risks. Then ChatGPT launched, and then almost after that, Box rolled out Box AI. So that timing changed everything from there. If I look through, so then A went from being something people talked about in demos to something in running in production, right? So in an enterprise product. So that's my initial journey into a security aspect. And then along with my co-founder Naveen, we published a Udemy course on a security bootcamp. That again, like, well, while we building that lab, like we did a lot of research,
Interesting.
and then from
And I'll link that course in there when I post this. So
awesome. Thanks so
yeah,
much. So from there on, then the agents came in, right? And this is a fastly evolving space I ever seen in my life, and probably you can attest to that too, right? So we've been like every 6 months we are seeing and uncovering new challenges and problem space and new attack vectors, right? So this is kind of the trajectory that we are seeing. And the moment when me and Naveen Like Naveen worked for AWS, so he solved some problems for AWS Agent Core, which is the AWS Gen AI offering, and that's where like we were parallelly solving some security problems within this space. And we decided, hey, there are like a lot of problems that are still uncovered, and lot more to do here. And then that prompted us to go build something and give it to people in front of hands. And then another aspect was like we both were talking about agent security in various cybersecurity conferences, and like we got like several questions from the practitioners across different industries. So we got a chance to learn unique problems
What
from
from
different.
different customers? Yep, exactly, exactly.
So yeah, I think that's like we at least spoke more than like 100 people in this space, and we see, hey, this problem is real, right? Like
Yes,
we saw them firsthand, but also that we were able to validate through others. So that's what prompted us to build Aira Security.
makes sense. So in terms of like the solution you provide, is it a tool that integrates into development pipelines or agents that are deployed out there? If you don't mind, kind of elaborating there a bit.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Ahmed. So it's a real-time enforcement layer that the intent of the agents, like if you look variety of other security products out there, they look these as more like a request and response event.
Yes,
So like looking at prompt and then filtering the prompt. So but we sit in a different enforcement layer, where we consider each model the agent is given a task, and to achieve that task it has to do this series of actions, and for that it needs to have different states and then the intent, right? So we look at the intent and then ensure it is following the intent by correlating uh,
yeah,
with tools and its permissions and its
makes sense. So
right.
you're doing a lot of heuristics and context based as far as your solution is concerned. I like that. That's interesting.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I want to call out something also. I think recently you were in New York because Aira Security was selected as part of like cybersecurity startups for 2026. How excited are you about that? And you want to talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very excited to work with alongside with CrowdStrike is like number one EDR platform, and AWS is another pioneer in cloud. And Nvidia, is powering the compute because all these innovations
Yeah,
are under their belt, right? So very excited to be part of the cohort in 2026. What that means for us is it's going to help us in doing cross research and also some go to market along with them. It's kicked off, and I'm getting a lot of mentor resources, and the way we are building the product, it's helping to evolve and also tighten up the integrations with CrowdStrike, because EDR provides a lot of valuable
yeah.
insights because at
Into
the
the
end.
environment. Yep.
Absolutely. So because a lot of the developer use case, right? Those folks run build agents in their workstation, and CrowdStrike is already there, and they have several insights into what agents
Into
are already doing. So we are adding additional enforcement layer. So we also want to tightly integrate in CrowdStrike ecosystem, and that can give customers the ability to further see what's going on, and the ability to block any unsafe actions. So this program is will help us guide in becoming that partner and working towards integrations, and with AWS we are working towards being in their AWS marketplace so that our customers can procure our platform
nice.
seamlessly.
That's
So
awesome.
with Nvidia also I'm getting a lot of support. So it's a great program to be part of, and we are super excited that we were selected among 35 startups across the.
Wow. Wow. Across the world, by the way, 35 startups. That's good. So I'm going to ask a couple, just one more question around that, and then maybe we could talk about something else. So for you never know who's listening, and for enterprises or anybody, security leaders that are listening, what are the problems that if they wanted to solve, they should be reaching out to Aira Security?
So they want, and if they are caring about security, like let's talk. Like
Okay.
we honestly want to learn the use case and see what's breaking, what's not, and then help them to get in a place where, hey, we provide full visibility and also can add that enforcement layer. So the few use cases that we currently work on is agentic workflows through Cursor Cloud Desktop, and also we are working with a life sciences company where they are doing a lot of clinical research using agents, because like when it comes to drug discovery, it takes years to do those research and have
Nice.
necessary approvals, and now they cannot have any compliance security related issues, because the entire research will collapse if they have some risk introduced by these agents. So these are primarily use cases that we are focusing
Awesome.
on. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for breaking that apart. Just soft question. How is founder life like? I mean, and in the advent of AI, I know a lot of startups, AI is helping a lot of startups grow and pick up quickly and so forth. How are you using AI in your space, yourself? And
Yeah.
how is the founder life?
I am really excited for this journey, because only this founder life can survive only if we enjoy day to day, because
Yes,
it's purely a roller coaster ride. In a day you might feel high, and then on the same day you might
I
feel low.
feel
So it's very common. So like me and Naveen always chat about, hey, like how are we doing day to day, and what we closely think is what are we executing on the next 18 hours, that we purely learn from Steve Jobs. So we want to focus on the execution part, and that is possible only if we can manage the time and prioritize what's the most important thing that needs to be done,
makes sense.
the
Makes
moment.
sense.
So that's more the founder life. And when it comes to AI usage, and use a lot, especially in various aspects, from a business angle, from a go to market angle, and also from the research. And also we are training a lot of small models with data. So Naveen is doing a lot of heavy lifting on fine tuning and improving on our small models, because that's one aspect of research and innovation we constantly focus when it comes to AI usage. Yeah.
Awesome. 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 All right. Thank you so much. It's been quite an interesting conversation with all the different things we covered. This is the part of the show where we do something I call the lightning round. I'm gonna throw a bunch of questions at you and tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. So I call it our lightning round. So let me know if you're ready to play and we'll play it. Go
Yeah,
ahead, go for it. All right, sounds
yeah.
good. So my first one is, what is the most overhyped myth in AI security?
You said it's a lightning round,
It's fine. We can talk about any of the answers, but
but then on top of it, there is like
there's all
more.
this newer attack surface. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So that's a hype. And then what's the second part?
I know that was just a question. Most of a high myth in AI security. So, and the next one is, what is one thing security teams are not ready for?
Like they are tight in budget, and their organizations are pushing a lot into this innovation, because at the end these agentic workflows are helping to reduce the cost of overall business.
Yeah,
They see real value only when they can see, hey, yes, this workflow I was able to improve my revenue, or this it took like 20 people to get it done, now we are able to let others to go do something more important, and then the same.
then yeah, exactly, exactly.
These return on investments are good, but then security teams are not ready to keep up, as CISOs are really tightened with
Titan
smaller
makes
teams
sense.
and
That
budgets.
that makes sense.
And by the way, I learned this through the Cohort program, where I was in a part of a CISO panel discussion.
Nice.
Sorry, like I was not part of the panel discussion. I was listening to a panel.
To the panel discussion. Yes. Yeah.
So
Awesome. Awesome.
this
That's
was
awesome.
coming back. Yeah.
Pretty awesome. And then one security capability you wish existed today.
So I guess the security capability that exists today, I would say, by if there is a way to see because there is always models are susceptible to prompt injection jailbreaks, right?
Yeah.
There is one capability to figure that out,
To
right?
have visibility into all of that, right?
So
Yeah.
like that's where we are working towards getting that, but then it will be always 99.9999,
999. Yep, that's
so
true.
because it will be never 100% we will be able to believe,
Uh,
in understand the security capability of.
yeah, exactly. Makes sense. Makes sense. Thank you so much, Mohan, for coming to the show and kind of enlighten us on AI security, talking about a little bit about Aira Security and what you do, and walking us through your journey and so forth. I would love for you to have the last word. If there's anything you would love to say to our viewers who are watching in terms of just security in general, AI and agentic security.
Yeah, absolutely, Ahmad. Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a wonderful conversation. I really enjoyed chatting with you on multiple aspects, from the journey to where I am today, etc., and where the industry is heading, especially with agent security space. I really want to thank you for the listen. Thank you for listening. And I guess I would always open to hear what are the use cases that you've been trying with agents, and see what's breaking, where what you want to get to. It's more understanding the day-to-day pain points, the problems that you are encountering. I always want to learn and curious in different verticals, not specific to life sciences, in any verticals, right? And I see in 5 years or 10 years from now, like there will be a lot of agents across the organizations, and I want to learn, understand the pain points, and then I
Absolutely.
see. Always curious to learn about those.
No, awesome, awesome. And anybody that's willing to reach out can always reach out via irasecurity.ai, right? I think that's your web address and so
Yeah,
forth. Sure.
yeah, and
Uh,
yeah, hit me up in LinkedIn. I'm always there, always open to learn. And as a community, right, like we also constantly believe in giving back. That's why we have an open source offering called MCP Checkpoint. Like anybody can just try it out and see the real value, because we put a lot of effort in making that community edition to find real wild issues. And one of the enterprise already found a prompt injection in their MCP environment. So is real,
these are real world security problems, and it's yeah, wow,
absolutely.
that's good.
And also we also contributing to MCP top 10 from OWASP. So we want to constantly give back to the community as well. So, and we have a small Aira security community as well. That's the Slack is available through our checkpoint kit. So we truly believe security is a very small community, and we are here to to learn and also share what we are learning from other enterprises and verticals. So
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for making the time. I really appreciate you, and looking forward to seeing some of the solutions that you guys come up with as we kind of live in this new world. So thank you
awesome.
so much, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ahmed. I really appreciate you taking the time as well. Amazing time. Let's see you next time. See
Sounds
you.
good. Take care.
From other enterprises and verticals. So
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for making the time. I really appreciate you, and looking forward to seeing some of the solutions that you guys come up with as we kind of live in this new world. So thank you
awesome.
so much, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Ahmed. I really appreciate you taking the time as well. Amazing time. Let's see you next time. See
Sounds
you.
good. Take care.